Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hamza Learning Podcast, where we help you improve your English and boost your confidence. I'm your host, Hamza, and today, we're diving into a topic that affects so many English learners: why people are afraid of speaking English. It's something a lot of us can relate to, and we're going to break it down today. Let's jump right into it. So, why are people so afraid of speaking English? I know it's a common issue, and to be honest, I've struggled with it myself in the past. You might feel nervous, or maybe you worry about making mistakes. But let me tell you, you're not alone. Gwen, what do you think? Why are so many people afraid to speak English?
That's a great question, Hamza. There are a few reasons why people feel anxious when speaking English, and a lot of it has to do with fear of judgment. People worry that others will laugh at them or think they're not smart if they make a mistake. And that fear can really hold you back.
Exactly. And sometimes, it's not just about making mistakes but also about comparing yourself to others. You might hear someone speaking fluently and feel like you'll never reach that level. It can be really discouraging.
Yes, that's a big one. Comparison can be harmful. Everyone learns at their own pace, but when we compare ourselves to others, it can make us feel like we're not good enough. Another thing that contributes to the fear of speaking English is perfectionism. Some learners feel like they need to speak perfectly, without any mistakes, before they can open their mouths. But the truth is, mistakes are part of the learning process, yeah.
That's such an important point. Perfectionism can make us afraid to even try. But here's the thing, nobody speaks a language perfectly, not even native speakers. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. And speaking of mistakes, another reason people are afraid of speaking English is because of past experiences. Maybe they were embarrassed once, and now they avoid speaking altogether.
Yes, negative experiences can really stick with you. If someone laughed at you or corrected you harshly, it can make you want to avoid that situation again. But the good news is that with practice and a supportive environment, you can build your confidence.
Exactly. Building confidence is key. So, for all of our listeners who are afraid of speaking English, don't worry, you're not alone. It's normal to feel nervous, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. In the next part of our podcast, we're going to share some practical tips to help you overcome your fear and speak English with confidence. Now, let's talk about some strategies to overcome the fear of speaking English. One of the best things you can do is to practice regularly. The more you speak, the less scary it becomes. Start with small conversations, maybe with a friend or language partner. Gwen, what else can our listeners do?
Another great tip is to focus on communication, not perfection. Remember, the goal is to get your message across, not to speak perfectly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Also, try to surround yourself with supportive people who encourage you to speak and improve.
That's a good one. Having a supportive environment can make all the difference. And here's another tip: prepare in advance. If you know you're going to speak English in a certain situation, like at work or in a class, practice what you're going to say. It can help you feel more confident and less nervous.
Yes, preparation is key. Another thing I recommend is listening to English as much as possible. The more you listen, the more familiar the language becomes, and that can reduce your fear of speaking. You can listen to podcasts, watch videos, or talk to people online.
That's so true. And don't forget, taking small steps is still progress. You don't have to speak perfectly or fluently right away. Just start where you are and build from there. Over time, your confidence will grow. Now, before we wrap up, let's go over some vocabulary that's useful when talking about fear and speaking. First word, confidence, meaning feeling sure of yourself and your abilities. Example, speaking more often helps build your confidence in English. Second word, judgment, meaning the act of forming an opinion or criticism. Example, fear of judgment can stop people from speaking a new language. Third word, perfectionism, meaning the desire to do something perfectly. Example, perfectionism can make learners afraid of making mistakes in English.
Fourth word, practice, meaning the act of doing something repeatedly to improve. Example, practicing English regularly will help you overcome your fear of speaking. Fifth word, communication, meaning the act of sharing information with others. Example, focus on communication, not perfection, when speaking English.
Great! So, to everyone listening, don't let fear hold you back. Practice, make mistakes, and keep learning. Speaking English is a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to fluency. Before we go, let us know in the comments, what makes you nervous about speaking English, and how do you plan to overcome it? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining us today on the Hamza Learning Podcast. See you next time, and happy learning!